everyone, my name is Lena, KrupinA, and today in the video we will discuss the finals of separate events at the Cristal Rose tournament in Minsk. I will tell you about the strange interview that came out with Irina winner and why a conflict between Yana Batyrshina and the head coach of the national team is about to arise. We will talk about how it happened that the AVERINAS sisters did not win a single gold medal and how the finals ended in general. And before the start of the video, do not forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, so you won't miss any new and interesting videos. Well, if you want to be aware of all the news of Rhythmic Gymnastics, then be sure to follow other social media where I tell about the news as quickly as possible. In Telegram, the news appears first. So on July 24th, the final day of the international tournament happened in Minsk. Under the last video, by the way, they asked who in addition to Russia and Belarus participated, since the tournament was called not a bilateral meeting but an international competition. So I will answer this question. There were also such countries as Kyrgyzstan, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Austria, Malaysia, and of course leaders of the world gymnastics do not participate at such competitions, but outside of public sources they say that they are afraid of sanctions for participating in such tournaments. In general, after reading the news, mood is constantly changing. First something will happen and they say that they will let Russia in soon, and then something else will happen and they already say that they will not let us in for a long time. But for now, we just have the option to keep an eye out for what we have. So let's start with the results of the juniors. Anna Popova, Russian gymnast, won the final with hoop by 2 points ahead of the closest rival, and this despite the fact that there was still dirt in the routine. But in general, juniors are less likely to cleanly pass programs compared to seniors, or at least it was at this tournament such a trend. Silver was won by Alina Gornosko, a Belarusian gymnast. It seems that she is very cautious during the routine, or just the pace was not as fast compared to Russian gymnasts. Another Belarusian gymnast, Darya Grokhotova, won bronze. There was also dirt in the routine, but in terms of apparatus and the elements, it was all great. The ball was much more successful for the girls, but not for everyone. So Anna Popova and Alina Gornosko passed their programs cleanly and took the first and second place respectively. But Maria Borisova took third place with a loss out of the carpet. It's probably obvious that the rest of the gymnasts did not reach the leaders in terms of difficulty. But in any case, it's strange for me to score such points with such a loss. Although in addition to the loss and the change of the apparatus and the rest, Masha went through the routine very well. Well, I think that this moment shows that at the tournament, all athletes were treated equally from wherever they were. But this is probably because of the conversation of Belarusians being overestimated. Well, there was also a very nice moment where Irina Alexandrovna winner gave Masha the words of farewell.
Не надо соревноваться ни с кем. В соревнованиях есть только один девиз: преодолеть себя, никак не своего соперника, не того, кто с тобой соревнуется, себя свою, понимаешь, себя преодолеть, всегда девочка. Ни с кем не соревнуйся, ты лучше всех. Ты лучше всех, какого-то. И ни с кем не соревнуйся, сама ты лучше.
It's true that these words worked in the clubs, where Masha went through the routine cleanly and eventually won gold. Anna Popova was only 1/10 short from the first place, and Darya Grokhotova, the gymnast of Belarus, lagged behind significantly, but there were inaccuracies in the exercise. The final with ribbon was won by a Belarusian gymnast, Alina Gornosko. I really like this routine, a lot of interesting and unusual work, cool findings, and a variety of work with the ribbon. Anna Popova became the second in the ribbon. There were entanglements and a loss on an element. Darya Grokhotova won the bronze. It was not too accurate, but in generally it was great. Well, let's move on to the seniors. Here in general, there were unexpected pedestals in each final, which of course immediately leads to a conversation about judging. But let's look at the places, and only then we will discuss the judging. Although I think those who have been watching me for a long time generally know how I feel about such phrases. What was nice is that nothing bad about the judging was said in the media, and on the part of the speakers, only discussions of the fans. But I think there is simply no longer an understanding of why someone took this or that place, so there is no argument. So in the hoop final, Anastasia Salas won gold, having overtaken her closest rival by 500, which of course is a very offensive gap and it can lead to doubts about honesty. Nastya did not allow losses in execution, but there were two dangerous moments. where the hoop could have flown out. And this does not seem to be a loss, but the unity is lost, and in theory, they should lower down the score for this. Whether they did it or not is unknown. Silver was won by Lala Kramarenko. It was she who lacked a tiny bit before the gold medal. This could happen because of the element that looks weird. Lala has unrealistic talent and no one argues with this, but this element really causes misunderstanding for me, especially if you watch it in replay. It clearly shows that the lower part of Lala seems to remain in the planche, but her leg is turning. In general, this element really confuses me. Of course, Lala is not the only gymnast who has questionable element forms, but given that Lala is famous precisely for her elements, this form attracts much attention. And in general, after Irina Averina talks so much about the fact that Russia is the best, to Russian people, a close attention is now being paid. Well, about the leotard, that was not in the all-around. I liked it very much, but as for me, not for Lala. Bronze was won by Alina Gornosko. It was not possible to cleanly cope with the program. There was a dirty catch, then an entanglement in the hoop, and the ending also turned out to be very blurry. But what I can say for sure is that long-legged and tall gymnasts look clearly more advantageous on the carpet. Irina Averina was the second gymnast from Russia who performed with the hoop in the final, but she could only take 6th place. There was a lot of dirt and a loss, so at the beginning she stepped off an element. By the way, I especially was amused that this very moment was inserted into Irina Averina's interview already 2 times. Irina also made a loss in the routine with a run, where the hoop swept all over the carpet. Then there was a loss in a risk, and in general, it seems to me that after these losses, some kind of negligence appeared, and it was hard to get together. The final with the ball ended with the victory of Alina Gornosko, who handled the ball very well, passing the program without visible errors. Anastasia Salas took 2nd place and lost a little to Alina, but there was a slight loss in the routine, and at the end she ran after the apartus. Dina and Arina won the bronze medal. She worked very well with the apartus. There were inaccuracies, but I really enjoyed the routine. Still, looking at such experienced gymnasts, it's a separate pleasure. This is completely different gymnastics. Well, the white leotard in case of Dina looks very cool. Lala Kramarenko became the 4th here, and there were errors. So she didn't get off an element very well, and on another element, the ball rolled out during the turn. However, in the clubs, Lala already gathered herself and won the gold medal, having coped well with the program. Silver was won by Alina Gornosko, losing only a few tenths, also doing well with the program. Of course, I really like the amplitude that Alina shows, the resplits, and also the height and length of her legs. Of course, in general, are captivating. Irina Averina and the clubs won a bronze medal. The clubs were also not the best for her, so it all started with the fall where she reached for the club, and of the pluses, there was no loss. But there was also a loss at the risk, where she supposedly hit herself with the club. Although I did not notice this, I rewatched this moment several times and did not see where the clubs touched her forehead, although it was after this loss where she touched her forehead. As a result, Arisha got a bruise and interesting photos with a red spot after the tournament. The ribbon final again was won by Lala Kramarenko. Only in one place there was a hitch, but otherwise she did an excellent job with the ribbon. After the tournament, Lala gave an interview, and I like her wording in the fact that she stopped speaking in the words of Irina Alexandrovna, but began to quote her. So she clarified that according to Irina Averina, Russia and Belarus are the strongest. I did not say this phrase, ascribing it to herself. Yes, of course, Russia and Belarus are the strongest teams, but given that now we are not competing with other strong opponents, in general, this phrase causes more negativity. And accordingly, when athletes say this, it is also alarming, given that not a single gymnast from Russia and Belarus wins everything in a row, which means that it could be questionable at the European and World Championships. Anastasia Salas placed 2nd in the ribbon final with a good routine, but not perfect. And the bronze medal was won by Maria Batyrshina, who also coped with the program very well. Still, it's not entirely clear to me why Irina Averina doesn't train such long-legged beauties for leadership, because she herself always fought for such gymnastics. Of course, there was an interview in which Irina Alexandrovna said that due to the fact that Masha trains in Krylia Sovetov, she does not often attend shows, and also she went on vacation with her parents, because of which she missed some starts. Bad words to Masha did not have an address. So it's not as clear to me who is stopping the sharp growth, the desire of a gymnast, a coach, or some other ambition that we are not told about. Dina and Averina was not able to rise on the podium in the ribbon. She made a loss at the end, and in general, there were other inaccuracies. After the tournament, Dina posted a video on her Telegram channel where she is recovering from an injury.
Потихонечку восстанавливаюсь после травмы.
That means that there was an injury, but Irina Alexandrovna told us that Dina just accidentally fell. In general, everything is in the best traditions. Everything is fine with health, and there is no injuries. Alina Gornosko does not succeed in the ribbon either. As a result, she took 5th place. There were many losses, and sometimes the ribbon just got out of her hand. And in an interview after the tournament, Alina herself said that the ribbon simply did not work out, although the mood was to do everything well.
Да что ж такое, Алина? Алина, надо! А что, из-за ноги или из-за чего?
Слушай, меня очень сильно повело. У меня кувырки в лицо летели. Я ничего не видела. Я сидела и ничего не видела.
У вас тут с Тимошенко одна болезнь, что ли?
Я постоянно.
Ну что делать, бывает, повело, ну что. Хорошо, что здесь, не где-нибудь. Тебе целый день плохо, это видно. Так а чего, может быть, нужно было какой-то там или утрокок, или что-нибудь, мы что-нибудь можем это... Да по тебе видно, что ты сегодня просто плывешь.
Well, returning to the Match TV, a whole interview with Irina Averina was released, where she talked about the future of Russian gymnastics and about how bad it is for others without us, and about the European Championship that they are no longer the strongest. I can understand Irina Alexandrovna from the angle that in the media she creates an image of a strong and independent team, without which the world of gymnastics has lost a lot. But I, as a person who follows what is happening in the world of Russia and Belarus, and what is happening in the world of pitch, do not agree with all such statements, and that the best teams are Russia and Belarus, and about the fact that this tournament in Minsk is better than the World and European Championship, and even more so about the fact that Europe will remain at the level and will not develop.
У нас проходила, как я уже говорила, в первый день чемпионат мира и Европы. Шла очень серьезная спортивная борьба. У них есть стимул, у них есть желание. А Европа как Европа, они так и останутся на таком уровне, на котором они сейчас. Чемпионат Европы, который был, к сожалению, желает увидеть лучшее, потому что Европа была всегда сильнейшей. Сейчас этого сказать невозможно.
Yes, of course, Russian gymnasts have always been leaders. Belarus has always been fighting for medals, but in what form are Russian gymnasts now? And could they show such high results as before at the same European Championship? It seems to me that the question is not unambiguous, and only gymnasts performing on the same carpets could answer the question. Yana Batyrshina, who once had a conflict with Irina Averina, expressed her opinion, which, by the way, was presented by the media as a new growing conflict between them. Both Yana expressed her thoughts quite sensibly, saying that the Cristal Rose tournament in Minsk could not be equated with the same World Championship. Still, athletes from other countries, Boryana Kalin, Sofia Rafaeli, Darya Atamanov, could compete for medals here in Minsk. As Yana clarified that in her opinion, such a comparison is more to calm herself. And we do not know how it could have happened if they all performed together. And I think it is really this way. And the idea that world gymnastics is suffering without Russia, I think works in the opposite direction. Russia also is not growing very much without the world tournaments and without real competitions, despite the new rules only for Russia. As Irina Averina says, oaks grow among oaks, and now everyone is just growing in their own forest. And if world gymnasts have the advantage that more leading countries and schools are now developing side by side, then among our competitors, although some of the strongest are here, there are only gymnasts from Belarus. And honestly, it's all very sad when you start thinking about it. But certainly, I do not agree with the fact that world gymnastics is bad without Russia and Belarus. But there's 100% lack for us and for everybody else. Write in the comments what you think about the statements of Irina Averina and how you feel about it. Well, we'll see you in the next video, and remember that I love you all very much, and bye bye.